Hey guys, welcome to The Boss Fighter, the show where we battle and defeat some of gaming's most iconic foes. Today we're tackling Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and before I get started with the ranking, I just wanted to quickly share my thoughts on the game. All in all, this experience was very mixed for me. There were moments I absolutely loved, moments I absolutely hated, but all in all, when I look back on what I just played, I don't really look back on it fondly. But to give the game a little bit of credit, there are some really memorable and badass bosses that I want to cover on this channel today. So without further ado, these are the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League bosses ranked worst to best. Hope you guys enjoy. So coming in at last place, we have the final boss of the game, believe it or not, because yes, Brainiac is the final boss. And oh boy, this fight was unsatisfying, frustrating, really disappointing, and it was simply fucking annoying. Let me explain the Brainiac experience. So, the game baits you into thinking, oh, you're gonna get a satisfying ending to this game you wasted your $70 on and your 15 hours with. And we're gonna give you a shitty reskin of the Flash boss. And not only that, we're gonna make you fight waves of enemies on top of that. And we're gonna ruin the most basic fundamentals of what made the Flash boss so enjoyable. Don't worry, we're gonna get to it soon. To be honest, there's no better way to encapsulate this game than the final boss, because this final boss basically sums up the experience in one shitty finale. It's boring, it's lazy, and it's ultimately disappointing, and fails to deliver on even my most basic expectations of what I expect in these kind of games. This fight is just doggy poo garbage. Let's move on. Oh boy, so this is the reason I made the video. If anybody knows this channel or knows me, you know I love Batman. I'm a huge Arkham fan. We've covered every game, every single boss in that series on this channel, so you know I'm a big fan. And I have to say, I didn't hate this. We're not talking about the death scene though. Oh, guys, I've got an essay planned in the next week talking about how much I fucking despise how they handled and executed this scene, but don't worry, that video is coming, and I don't know, I got a lot to say, so stay tuned. But in terms for the boss, I have to say that it's not bad, it's inoffensive to me. A lot of people expected a lot more. A lot of people wanted this to be more of a climactic encounter. They wanted more mechanics. They maybe wanted to include some of like the Arkham boss design philosophies into this encounter, but I don't know. I think in terms of what this game did with Batman as a physical threat, it makes a lot of sense. Because yeah, we could have fought Batman in like a giant Batwing or a Batmobile. Actually, we could have done a lot of things with this boss. But I think the route they went with us fighting a giant nightmare Batman, it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it. But I have to say, this boss just feels like a one-to-one ripoff from the Scarecrow fight in Arkham Knight. Actually, probably even worse than that. Because at least in that fight, there was some sort of, I don't know, stakes or tension. That's kind of a big problem with this game. You feel no tension in the gameplay, because the solution to combat encounters is so ridiculously easy and obvious that you never have to think and you're never on your toes. You're just kind of shooting a giant bat enemy and praying the fight will end soon. And there's no mechanics to keep you on your toes. There's no interesting attacks. There's nothing to look out for. You're just shooting a giant sponge basically until you beat the boss and the game ends. Oh, it sucks, man. I'm so sorry. I'm disappointed right now. Honestly, the Green Lantern boss isn't that bad, but it's not that good either. I think my biggest problem with this boss is I feel like I'm fighting the game's mechanics more than the actual Green Lantern here. Because essentially the gimmick here is Green Lantern will use his Green Lantern powers to summon all of these weapons around the arena, and you have to shoot the weapons to deflect the Green Lantern energy back at him. I think it's will energy, I'm not too sure. Correct me in the comments. However, what the problem is these weapons spawn all over the arena, and the mechanics of the game aren't that good. The traversal mechanics kind of fucking suck, if I'm going to be honest with you. So what you're doing is you're just flying around the arena aimlessly, trying to manage your traversal recharge, because I was playing with Deadshot, which meant my jetpack ability would constantly run out, which means I'd have to constantly go back to the ground, and then go back up to the ground. It's a mess. This fight sucks. I don't like it. Deadshot ruined this boss for me. Maybe it's better with other bosses, but Deadshot fucking ruined this. I'm ranting. I don't like the Green Lantern. The King Shark scene is fucking stupid afterwards. It makes no sense in the context of the lore or in the context of the game. Let's move on. I'm getting fucking frustrated. I hate the Green Lantern boss, but it doesn't suck that bad. I don't know. Okay, so the next four are actually quite difficult to rank because they're all somewhat similar in quality, but I have to put Superman here because this fight was just honestly really disappointing for me. Now, it's kind of funny that this game treats all the Justice League members that they're on the same power level. I get in the context of the game, you get these like anti-weapons and gadgets that help you get an even footing with the villains. But still, it just doesn't make much sense. I get we have gold kryptonite, but we're not using it in any offensive way. We're using it in a defensive way. We're strapping it to ourselves, and Superman doesn't really engage us in combat. He attacks us from a distance. So even in the context of the story, this anti-gadget doesn't really make much sense because we're not using it in gameplay. It's just more of a accessory to our outfits almost. And the fight is just so boring and lame. Seriously, all you're doing is, at this point in the game, you're used to the gimmick bosses, you know how they work, and Superman doesn't really have any unique gimmicks to him. All he does is just fly around the arena, shoot lasers at you, throw cars at you, make these tornadoes, I think. I can't be bothered to look at the footage to confirm that. But it's just weird. Like, when you think of Superman, I think that's like the final boss of the game. I think that's a lot of potential there for a really awesome encounter, and it's just not realized here in any way possible. I suppose at the very least, if I can give the game a little bit of credit, the Superman voice actor they got was phenomenal. He captures the essence of the character perfectly, and his design is awesome. I love the suit. But despite that, the boss is just forgettable, uninteresting, boring, and ultimately disappointing. Okay, so the Flash. I actually have a lot of nice things to say about this boss. See, okay, so it's a ranking of the Suicide Squad bosses, right? This is the first one where I'd say we're actually in the above average zone for bosses, because I actually really enjoyed the Flash for what he was. At its best, this is an inoffensive boss with one of the cooler Justice League members in terms of gameplay, because what the Flash can do is he can fly around the whole arena, create vortexes with his speed abilities, and because he's voiced by Heimdall, he has a lot of really fun commentary to add to this encounter, and it adds a lot of enjoyment factor to it. But at its worst, unfortunately, it's just kind of, I don't know, forgettable and a bit boring and bland and uninteresting. I don't know, when I think of a Flash boss, I think there's so much potential to have a cool encounter. But with this, all he really does is fly around the arena creating vortexes. That's basically what he does. Now, to give the boss some merit, I do have to say this is what I'd like to call a puzzle boss. Because at this point in the game, you don't really know how to kill him, you don't know how to kill the Justice League members in gameplay. Which is really fun, because when you start shooting him and realizing you're doing like 1 to 5 damage instead of the thousands you should be doing, it's a really scary moment, and it makes you think, and you're on your toes, and it makes you feel tension in a game that makes you feel no tension or stakes in the gameplay. However, once you figure out how to defeat him, the fight is basically over as soon as it begun, but the novelty of fighting the Flash is pretty cool, and I enjoy the mystery and the puzzle of trying to figure out how to defeat him. It's one of the few moments I had to think in this game, and I appreciate that. I don't know, I'm just left here empty, feeling hollow, disappointed, ashamed, almost, betrayed by a company that I love. I started a YouTube channel because I love this company so much and the games they made, and to see what they've done with it, it's, I don't know. But But anyway, that's the boss fighter. I have to say, I do apologize, we haven't done a lot of the boss ranking videos lately, but you have to understand, I'm a small YouTuber. I have to simply stick with things that are going to get me more views, more attention. So these boss ranking videos are going to take more of a sidestep in my channel. They are going to come, I am going to do them, do not worry, I have plenty planned in the future. But these essay style videos seem to get more attention, so I'm going to stick with those as the priority. I hope you guys don't mind that. But anyway guys, thank you for watching and I hope you have a fantastic day. Please take care of yourselves and I'll see you another time.